Libra, you're already on your phone looking for a house or apartment in a new place or another city, aren't you? Have you calculated how much moving costs? Have you imagined a new life in a new place where nobody knows you and you can be who you really are? Have you felt that thrill of possibility when you see a picture of an empty apartment waiting for a better version of yourself? And there's a voice in your head, insistent, urgent, almost desperate. I need to get out of here now. And it's not a gentle desire, it's a need that grows stronger every day. It makes the walls of your room seem closer and closer. It turns a street you know by heart into a prison. It transforms your home into a place where you only sleep but never truly rest. And you can't take it anymore. One more day in this city, in this neighborhood, in this apartment, and you'll implode. But stop. Stop right now. Before signing the contract, before notifying the landlord, before starting to pack boxes, because I need to tell you something no one else will tell you, something that could save you from the most expensive mistake you've ever made. Not just expensive in money, expensive in time, in energy, in pieces of yourself that you can't get back, because there are two types of change, and you need to know what yours is before doing anything. Some changes save you, and some changes sink you deeper. Some changes are evolution, and some changes are escape disguised as courage. And the difference between the two, the difference determines whether in 6 months you'll be better off or if you'll be in a new place with the same old problems, only now with no one around. So take a deep breath and come with me, because in the next few words I'm going to give you a map that reveals whether the impulse you feel is wisdom or self-destruction. And you will know for sure, and after you know, you decide. But at least decide consciously, not desperately. The first thing you need to understand about Libra and change. Libra is the sign that struggles most with its environment. More than any other, its inner balance is tied to the external environment in a way that is almost frightening. When the surrounding space is heavy, you are heavy. When the house is chaotic, you are chaotic. When the energy of the place is stagnant, you are trapped. And that's not weakness, it's sensitivity. It's a highly calibrated radar that detects when the environment is no longer serving its purpose. And that radar is screaming now, isn't it? It's saying that something is profoundly wrong with where you are. And you feel it in your body. Tension in your shoulders when you get home. Tightness in your chest when you wake up. The urge to leave, to go anywhere, just to not be there. And you're not making this up. This is true. The environment really affects you in ways that it doesn't affect other signs. So when you feel the need to change, it's not a whim, it's not drama, it's a legitimate need. But here's the catch, the need for change doesn't necessarily mean physical change. Sometimes it means internal change that then manifests externally. And confusing the two, that's where the problem begins. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine two people, both Libras, both feeling the need for change. The first person is in a small town, limited work, zero opportunities, a social circle that stopped growing years ago. She looks around and sees, I gave everything I could give here. I explored everything. I grew beyond this place. And she moves. She goes to a bigger city, more possibilities, more people, more life. And it works. Because the change was based on something concrete, a real limitation of place. Now second person, she lives in a big city, she has a decent job, she has some friends, but she feels empty, she feels like something is missing, and she thinks maybe it's the city, maybe I need a smaller place, calmer, more connection with nature. And she moves, she goes to the countryside, to a small town. The first few weeks are magical, she breathes better, she sleeps better, she feels a peace she hasn't felt in years. And then month 3, emptiness returns. The feeling that something is missing returns. And she realizes with horror, I moved to escape emptiness, not to go towards something. And emptiness came along, because emptiness didn't live in the city. It lived in it. And now she's in a new city, without a support network, without friends, feeling the same emptiness, only now with fewer resources to cope. Do you understand the difference? The first person was changing of something clear to something clear. Monday was changing a way of feeling without knowing to what. And that's the distinction you need to make now, urgently, before making a decision. So let's do the test, an honest test that will reveal truths you may not want to see but need to. Grab a piece of paper or open notes on your phone and write. Don't overthink it. Just write down the first answer that comes to mind. Question 1. What exactly are you trying to leave behind? Don't say everything. Don't say this life. Be specific. Is it a relationship that ended and the city is full of memories? Is it a toxic job and you need a different market? Is it an intrusive family and you need physical distance? Is it a social circle that diminishes you? Is it a version of yourself that you don't like and that you think you can only change in a new place? And here's the critical part. Look at the list. For each item, ask yourself, is this caused by the place or by me? Because if it's a relationship that ended, you can move, but you'll carry pain. You'll carry the pattern that led to the relationship ending, and you'll repeat it in a new place with a new person until you understand the pattern. If it's a toxic job, you can move, but if you don't know how to set boundaries, if you don't know how to say no, you'll find a toxic job in a new city too. If your social circle is diminishing you, you can move, but if you don't know how to choose healthy people, if you always attract the same type of friendship, you'll rebuild a similar circle in a new place. What if it's a version of yourself that you don't like? Libra, listen carefully. You don't leave yourself behind when you move. You take it with you. You always take it with you. And if you don't like who you are here, you won't like who you are there. Because geography doesn't change personality, it doesn't change patterns, it doesn't heal wounds. So what do? If you looked at the list and saw that most of the things you want to leave behind are internal, not external, you have work to do before you move. Internal work, therapy work, self-knowledge work, changing patterns. And this work can happen exactly where you are. In fact, it needs to happen where you are. Because if you move before doing the work, you're only postponing the inevitable. But if you looked at the list and saw concrete, external, real things connected to the place, then yes, change might be the answer. Question 2. Where are you going and why? And here I won't accept vague answers. I won't accept to a better place. I won't accept to start over. I want specifics. Which city? Why this city? What does this city offer that the current one doesn't? Specific work, specific studies, climate that affects mental health, proximity to important people, cost of living that allows for a specific dream. Because if you have specific answers, you are making conscious change. But if you only know that you want to leave but don't know where or why, you're in escape mode. And escape never has a clear destination. It only has an urgency to leave. And when you leave without knowing where you're going, you end up anywhere. And anywhere is rarely the right place. Question 3. What do you think will be different there? And be brutally honest. Don't romanticize it. Don't fantasize. If you think you'll have more friends, how? How will you make friends? Are you someone who makes friends easily? If not here, what will change there? If you think you'll be happier, where does happiness come from? From the place or from you finally doing things that make you happy? And if it's the latter, can you do those things here? If you think you'll be more productive, more creative, more yourself, why? What about the new place allows that which your current place doesn't? And be specific, because different energy isn't specific. Better job market in my field is specific. More sunlight that helps my seasonal depression is specific. Away from family that infantilizes me is specific. Do you see a difference? Specific is based on reality. Vague is based on hope. And hope without foundation is a recipe for devastating disappointment. And now the most frightening question. What if you can't move? Imagine that for some reason you need to stay exactly where you are for another year. A contract you can't break, a responsibility you can't abandon. Whatever the reason, you can't move. How do you feel? If the response is pure panic, if it's an unbearable feeling of imprisonment, if you feel you're going to die if you stay, that tells you something important. You don't want to change. You need to escape. And escape comes from desperation, not from choice. And decisions made in desperation rarely end well. But if you can imagine staying and thinking, it's not ideal but I can make it work, then change is a preference, not a necessity. It's a choice, not an escape. and choices made from a place of calm are infinitely better than decisions made from a place of despair. And there's another angle that nobody talks about: cost. It's not just money, although money is real and important, but the emotional cost. The cost of starting from scratch, of not knowing anyone, of not having anywhere to go when you need a hug, of not having a favorite restaurant, of not knowing where anything is, of being a stranger in your own life. And you underestimate that cost, because when you're desperate to leave, you think anything is better than staying. But starting from scratch is a hardship few anticipate. It's coming home after a difficult day and having no one to call. It's weekends without plans because you don't know anyone yet. It's every little task being complicated because you don't know how things work there. And if you're already exhausted, if you're already at your limit, adding the stress of change can break you. It can take you to a place where you can no longer function, where depression that was under control explodes, where anxiety that was manageable becomes unbearable, and suddenly you're in a new city, alone, in crisis, without a support network, without the therapist who has known you for years, without anything familiar to hold you up. And I'm not saying this to scare you, I'm saying this because nobody else will. Because everyone romanticizes starting over, makes it seem like a courageous adventure, and it can be, but it can also be trauma, and you need to know both sides before deciding. So evaluate, honestly, your current mental state, your current resilience, your ability to cope with multiple simultaneous changes. And if you are fragile, if you are vulnerable, perhaps it's not the right time, even if it's the right place. Because wrong time with right place still leads to wrong. And now let's talk about the Libra pattern that nobody mentions. You tend to start over instead of fixing things, because fixing is difficult. Fixing requires you to stay, to confront, to have uncomfortable conversations, to set boundaries, to change behaviors, to do the hard work of transforming a bad situation into a good one. But starting over seems easier. A blank page, no history, no baggage, no need to deal with the mess you created or that was created for you. And it's seductive, it's tempting, it's almost irresistible when things are difficult. Just walk away, leave everything behind, start over. Except that you don't start over, you start from where you are internally. And if where you are internally is a mess, you create a new mess, in a new place, with new people, the same mess, because a mess isn't geography, it's you, and until you change, the mess changes along with you. So before making external changes, ask yourself, what do I need to fix internally? What patterns do I repeat? What choices do I make that always lead to the same result? What parts of me need healing? And then the question is, can I do this work here? Or do I really need a new environment to do it? And sometimes the answer is, yes, I need a new environment, because the current environment is so connected to old patterns that it's impossible to break the pattern without breaking the environment. Like someone who was a drug addict and needs to leave a city where all their friends use drugs. Like someone in an abusive relationship who needs physical distance. Like someone who needs to separate from a toxic family. In these cases, change is necessary for survival, but in other cases, change is just a distraction. It's a way to avoid real work, and you only know the difference by being honest with yourself about your real motivation. And there are signs that reveal whether you should change or not, signs that you should go. You have a specific plan. You know where you're going, you know why, you know what you're going to do there. You have resources, you have emotional stability. You're moving towards something, not running away from something. You feel more excitement than fear. You can imagine life there in a concrete and realistic way. A sign that you shouldn't. You only know you want to leave but don't know where to go. The change is a reaction to a recent crisis. You are in a fragile emotional state. You have more fear than excitement. You can't imagine life there concretely. You only have a vague feeling that it will be better. You are running away from something specific, thinking that distance will solve everything. And pay attention to the moment. If you just ended a serious relationship, wait, at least 6 months, because breakup pain distorts everything. It makes you want to erase everything that reminds you of the person, including the city. But the pain passes, And when it passes, you can look back and realize that the city was okay. It was the relationship that wasn't. Did you just lose your job? Wait until you find a new one. Because moving without a job, without income, to a place where you don't know anyone is a recipe for financial and emotional disaster. Are you experiencing a mental health crisis? Wait until things stabilize, because change is a huge stressor, and adding stress when you're already in crisis is like adding weight to someone who's drowning. But if you are stable, if you have clarity, if you have a plan, if you have concrete reasons, go for it. And when you go consciously. Don't go with the fantasy that everything will be perfect. Go knowing that it will be difficult, that there will be moments of regret, that you will feel homesick, that you will wonder if you did the right thing, and go with the commitment to stay at least a year, because it takes time for a new place to become home. It takes time to build a community. And if you give up in the first difficult months, you never give the place a chance to show what it can offer. And that's what it does. Before changing address, it changes energy. Change your routine, change your habits, change how you use your current space. Because sometimes the problem isn't the place, it's how you live in the place. If you never leave the house, if you don't have a routine, if you don't take care of your space, the problem will be even in a new apartment. So try it. You start living differently where you are. Go out more, you explore new places in the city, make new friends, try new hobbies, change the decor, change the energy of your home, and see if the restlessness decreases. If it gets cheaper, great. You saved yourself an expensive move by discovering you needed a change of style, not a dress. If it doesn't lessen, if you've done everything and still feel the need to leave, then yes, then you have an answer, and then you go. But you go knowing that you tried, that you're not running away, that you're making a conscious choice. And one last thing about Libra and change. You're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel selfish for leaving, especially if there are people who depend on you, family, friends, partner, and you'll be tempted to stay for them, to sacrifice what you need for what they want. And I need to tell you this clearly. You can't live the life that others want for you. You can't stay in a place that's killing you just because your departure bothers others. Because in the end, it's your life, your only life. And if you spend it doing what others want, you'll end up with enormous resentment, with a feeling of wasted life, with a list of what-ifs that haunts you. So if you need to go, go, even if others don't understand, even if others get hurt, because people who truly love you will eventually understand, and people who don't understand may never have loved you the way you needed to be loved. And know this, change that you make consciously, intentionally, with courage, always works. It may not work the way you imagined, it may be harder than you expected, it may take you to places you didn't plan, but it works, because you are living from choice, not from fear, from expansion, not from escape, and that changes everything. So think about it. Think very carefully before you do it, but when you decide, decide completely, and go, without looking back, without endlessly questioning yourself. Because hesitation kills more dreams than failure, and you don't want to reach 50 wondering what would have happened if you'd had the courage to make a change when you felt the calling.